I think it's time for a flashlight review. Trustfire MINI X7. This is quite an interesting light because it has a laser on it where you can actually measure distance. It's pretty cool. It's got a little weight to it. Got a little magnet to it. It's got a little bit of that right there. It's got a little bit of that right there. That's your laser option. Boom. Let's say hold it down, you want to measure. You can look at it. It'll save, I know you can't see that, but it will save your last 3 measurements, I believe. And flashlight is mid button. Of course, this is in the daytime, but still quite impressive. You see 2 dog bones and 1 nibble. You see 1 pack of gum that's no longer there. But we'll give it a test in the eve. Here in the eve, when the eve sets, and see what it looks like. That's my knee. There is a leg on the other end of it, but it's just, I just only am showing that part. It's a little darker. Not a whole lot darker, but a little bit darker. And from here to that building, I got it on. It's only, I don't know if you can see the red dot. Push it and hold it. Hold on. I turned it off. Hold on. It is 15.86 meters to that barn, which is, we got light. Struggling here. Okay, I got it figured out. Sorry. It tells you how much charge you got left, how far it's going, what level you're on. That's level 2. That's level 3. And that's level 4. So, barn. Level 2, level 3, level 4. Pretty doggone bright flashlight to be so miniature. I'm used to the other ones that simply double click and it's high bright. Or you can go back to how far is stuff, like right there. And you can have a little light and that halfway. Get your laser on there. 1.72 meters, if you can see that. Anyway, let's get right here and get serious. So what we'll do is I'll put the link to the MINI X7 Trustfire on the video description if you have an incredible interest in owning one. Round 365. So based on the comments, this is a magneto that is not a distributor, even though it has a distributor cap. So does it have points? Does it not have points? Yes, it does. It is leaking around the gasket. So I got some roll GM gasket maker material, GM squared actually. And I'm going to take the carburetor off, create a new gasket, and I just find it hard to believe that it's out of time. But I guess there's always a chance. I always wonder, what is this little window to its soul right here? If I take that bolt out and that bolt out and put some grease on my fingernail, I know what I'll see, but what's the point of that? You have to admit that yellow fan is pretty going around and around. If you put some sharp edges on that, you could slice cucumbers and just a virtual myriad, a veritable plethora of things you can do. Carburetor's off. That's painted white. Carburetor's off. No carburetor. Carburetor. So from what I understand, does this set the float height? I'm going to take it apart to figure it out. And I forgot what y'all said that one did. But this is the gasket that needs to be redone. I do want y'all to see inside this carburetor. So give me the minute and you will see it. Wait right there. We're almost there. One more screw. One more screw. Be the screw. Be the screw. See the screw and be the screw. That's what you're supposed to do. So you take out 2 at a time. That way you have evenness. I'm kidding. Uno. Zwei. I'm getting it. Hang on. Sans. And then the difficult one. Dude, you could use a thinner head screwdriver. I know, but it's always best to use the best fitting screwdriver in the best fitting slot. That way you don't strip these things out. I mean, waller out the top. And I do know that. So here we go. You ready for the moment you've all been waiting for? I hope you can see. If you can't see, then you probably aren't aware. I know my hand's in the way. There's number 4. That's worth it again. Didn't get it do that twice. So here it is. Pretty spiffy. Still a little gas in there. Hang on, let me get you off of here. This is what it looks like inside. It was completely, absolutely completely covered in white foamy residue. So I don't want to dump that out yet. Here's the gasket, which is completely mangled and busted open right there. So there's the main one that goes through. So that obviously does not adjust the float. Float adjustment, is that just simply bending the little tiny silver thing right there? Is that considered float adjustment? I mean, I know everything's falling out of there right now. So anyway, let's finish taking it apart. So now that the gas is out, I remove the rod, pick that up. There's my flow stopper. I don't know what that's called, flow stopper. But the question is, okay, how do you adjust? How do you adjust these? You would have to, only way you could adjust them is bend that, right? That's the only way you could adjust, is to make that little dooflotchy either sink more or rise more. That's my thought. So I'm going to take this off. I know it looks a little crunch, but it's not. It's actually nothing else stinking comes out. I have scrubbed and scrubbed and cleaned and cleaned. There's a jet on this, there's a jet on that hole. I don't know if that's actually called a jet. And then there's this, which again, when it's put together, I don't have a great understanding of what it does, because it simply goes into there. Actually, I don't know where it goes. Maybe it does go in that hole. Okay, it does. It goes in that hole that you probably cannot see. But anyway, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Which means that this, let's take it out. This goes in to there and stops up that little tiny hole inside there. I don't understand what else that thing could possibly do. But I know I want that little gasket still, because I don't have another one. So I'm going to put this back in here. Everything on here is clean other than the gas that poured out. And someone said tighten this up all the way and then back it off 1 turn and a quarter. Well, that I can't know. I don't know what all the way is unless it's in there, of course, because it may not even go in the turn that far. So I'll back it back up, leave it right here. And my next game is this. What I don't remember is if it went that way or that way. Well, that's just wonderful. That's crucial. That's flat. That's got a little concave on one side and flat on the other. I did take pictures of everything, so I will eventually figure out how it goes back. I'm going to get my gasket maker, lay this on there flat, put a puff of paint just so it doesn't outline. But what I don't know is what it used to look like in there. But I can get an idea by that one side right here, right? I think so. So let's make a gasket. This one's paper. I got gasket, so, but I did get cork. Now I'm wondering if I got the wrong stuff. There's only 8 ways to find out. Got my piece. I've got my gasket. The goal is get this flat, put a puff on it, and start taking out holes. So the question is, does it matter which side is which, or is that just guide for the machining process where they cut it? There it is. I'm going to let it dry. Hope the paint doesn't destroy the cork. I know that's going to be everybody's first concern, and if it does, I've got a lifetime worth right here. It was $10 for the rest of my life. And now it is time to see if I can cut out the gasket. He puts the glasses on the face. You get the world's sharpest knife, sharper than any X-Acto knife could ever dream of being. And then you get your old gasket, because I can't figure out what was right here other than just a slight opening, which would have been right 222. It looks like it wouldn't have mattered. Yes, it would have mattered. So we're gonna put it on here correctly. It's just a slight opening for the arms that hold the pin. So we'll give it a slight opening for the arms that hold the pin. And like I say, the good thing about this is, and we know it's this far. The good thing about this is, I don't know how much a slight opening is. We'll give it about, let's look at it again. Yeah, all that mushy gushy should have went up straight like that. So that made a little bit of an angle right here. And we can always go back and take away more, correct? Right, right. I'm probably going to cut myself, which is why an X-Acto knife is a better thing for this. So far I have created the ugliest gasket in the world, but that's okay. There are competitions for ugly, and if ugly wins in this competition, then we're in the zone, right? You don't want any stray hairs getting in anything either. I did not get an X-Acto knife. I don't own one. I need that a little bigger. I can't tell anything yet. Well, this may be considered cheating, but man, it works really well so far. Then I'll look at it Let's see if we're in the right zone. Then we will cut the outside out. No, you're curious. So am I. That is pretty doggone good. Brand new drill bit to clean all the pieces out ever so gently. And then that one, there it is. So far, let's see what we're looking like. Quite spiffy if you ask me. I mean, they're right on the money. So now, we take our chopping block, turn it to a fresh side, and start that big hole. Center hole is done. Almost perfect. Few fragments. Bottom hole is somewhat done. The only place I may have erred is right there. So let's go for a initial test run. Put it on there right, dude. Okay, I ain't gonna get all mad about it. So, I need a little more off the top. I did not do such a good job. It's a little catty-cornered. But it's okay. I got a plan. That's enough right there. That's more than was there before. And we're missing the hole right there. No, we're not. That one goes on there. So it goes like that. The only thing I'm missing, I need is this squared off and that squared off. My hole on the bottom's a little off. I'm gonna try it anyway. Now I put it back together. There's enough right there so that nothing flows through. And that hole appears to be large enough as the other one. All these holes line up, these holes line up, and these aren't busted out, and I got a good edge all the way around. So I'm gonna put it back together and see what happens. What I still don't know is how to adjust the float. Because when you put it on there, oh my goodness, I forgot about this too. But either way, when you put it on there, I know that you don't want to restrict anything. So I hear the float moving up and down. I don't have it bound any way at all. Didn't mean to drop that. So now I gotta look back at pictures and see what goes up or down on here, because I don't know what goes up or down on there. It appears that this is the top. Oh man. Yeah, and the bottom down there is the part that's concave into the hole, convex out of the hole. So it's gonna go like this, is my guess. Very snug, but not too tight. Still hear the floating around. That ought to work. I've got a little bit of extra hanging out right there, and none of that matters, I don't think. So let's go put it on. 1135 is your float adjustment, and according to Andrea Mills, screw it all the way in, bring it out a turn and a quarter. All right, all the way in. That's all the way in. Out a turn. There's a half. There's a turn. There's a half. There's a quarter. So that's my air mixture right there. I'm gonna put everything back on there and we'll see if this thing runs. Gas is on, carburetor's back in its spot. It is dry. There's a little bit of drippage right there where I put that back on. Otherwise, everything's dry all the way around. So let's see if it cranks. Tough to give it choke. Hold the camera at the same time. Gave a little choke, she's choking. I mean, how much can a starter take, right? That was my finger hitting it a second time. So I'm gonna pull one plug. None of the plugs were had any gas on them the last time. Always spray paint your spark plug socket. What dripped out of there? Oh, just dust. There's a little crud on there, but I did put that PB blaster in there because the valves were stuck and it opened them up for sure. So let's check another one. This one has worked all the time. This valve right here never got stuck for some reason over the winter, and I don't know why they got stuck unless they just rusted. Does not smell like gas. Should I put a puff of gas in each of these or some starter fluid? What's your thoughts? Gas is pouring out again. I didn't think it was. Doggone it. Why is gas pouring out of there? So this is air. This is float adjustment, I think is what it said. So do I go in more or do I go out more? How do you stop that? I know my float is floating. There's gas dripping out of that too. Let me double check. Yeah, it's not coming out of the carburetor other than down here. I just need to snug up that bolt. I didn't put it in real tight. You know, everything's aluminum. I didn't want to crank down on it, but I can snug that up. Why is gas dripping out of there? Why, oh why, oh why? So we'll turn it off. Turn off the gas. See if she runs on just fumes for a minute. Put a puff of canned gas in there too. It's like it only fires and I just bump it. But when I stop, when I just hold it down, it just does that. Now watch, I'm just gonna bump it. Will that fire? That's just something to wake up the neighbors. I'm done. Oh my goodness. I did learn from y'all's comments that that is a magneto and is not a distributor. I think I might have already said something like that, but I just, I don't know. I turn off the gas. Of course, no gas dumps out. The choke is not stuck. It is functioning fine. Opens and closes, opens and closes. You can see it in there if you could see it in there. You know, my throttle is at half mast. My choke is open when it should be open, and I could let it sit here a couple minutes and then it might burn on fumes. Why am I not, that's kind of warm, not hot, but that's why am I not getting gas on the plugs to make this joker run? And how come it's just a bump that makes it turn over, and yet a full button just makes it dagada 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 boom. One more try. Oh, the seat thing fell apart too. I don't understand what kind of a seat this is, but I had it sitting up here all nice and propped up, and it fell over, and that piece just broke off. Good welds. There's some ants. They love stray metals. I'm gonna pick. What in the world? I gotta do something with the ants. One more try. See, it hit a lick and turned itself. I mean, does it have a fuel pump? My battery's getting crummy again. I don't know how it gets fuel into anything anyway, unless it's just flat gravity fed, which I guess it is. It falls in there, it falls in the bowl, and I guess fumes go up, right? What gets the gas up in there? I don't know the answer to that because I'm not a mechanic. Also, if you have 3 cylinders frozen, how does one of them continue to cycle the engine when you give it? Because your piston's hooked to a rod which is hooked to the bearing, right? So why wouldn't it turn all of them unless it broke something? I did notice that when 3 of them were stuck, it turned over a lot easier. It was like almost like the plugs weren't in there. Then we got them freed up, it takes a little more juice to turn over the whole thing. So that's all I know about this right now. I am done, and I greatly appreciate everybody's advice. If you haven't, take a minute, subscribe if you want to, and you gotta, I don't know if there's another button you push to let you know if I put out another video, but simply for those who are interested in this, not this whole thing we got going on here. So thanks for watching my videos.